Gut development and rumen modification are transitional steps that backgrounder cattle go through to get used to a grain feeding system. Gut development and rumen health are key contributors to overall animal health and production performance. Silage can be an integral part of getting cattle through the transitional phase from pasture to a more intensive feeding system.
I suppose it all comes back to making sure you've got a system designed for what's going to work on your own farm or your own enterprise, and that's key. Once you've got those sort of goals and ambitions sorted out, it comes down to making it at the highest quality, the forage the highest quality into silage that you can. Quality's set at the point that you're actually taking the crop out of the paddock and putting it into the silage pit. Inoculants are designed and researched to improve and enhance fermentations in silage when we're actually making the silage. The better and the quicker we can have a fermentation take place, the more quality that we actually maintain in those silages. Now, we're chasing high quality silage because one, it costs money to put down, but two, we get much better results out of our cattle if we've got a high quality product that goes in front of them. What we're trying to do is adapt these cattle to several different things. One, we're trying to adapt their rumens over, but we're also trying to adapt them now into a more of an intensive style system. We've got to have a product in relation to, say, silage is one that's palatable, but highly nutritious, so as we can maintain good rumen function, but also that the cattle will want to come and eat it out of the trough. So they establish their social orders and all those sorts of things and get used to eating out of a trough. We've got to train animals to do those sorts of things. Now, the higher quality, but also palatability, and the more hygienic that style for, ration or silage is, then the more chance we have of getting those cattle onto silage quicker or onto a backgrounding style ration quicker. Once they're onto those rations, obviously their production starts to move forward, their ADGs start to happen. We maintain good gut health and we maintain good animal health.
The importance of a properly functioning rumen cannot be overstated when it comes to achieving optimum production gains from feedlot cattle. The addition to backgrounding rations of probiotics, which are live yeast products, it's considered by many producers to be an essential part of a backgrounding and preconditioning program.
The first important thing to say is that profitability of a ruminant system is really reliable on the health and performance of the rumen. So we're using probiotics to try to enhance the efficiency of the rumen and help to create a stable environment, and we can do this through the use of probiotics. Probiotics is the broad term that covers sort of everything, and then within probiotics itself then you've got a whole heap of sort of different subcategories. So we've got products like live yeasts, you've got dead yeast, we've got yeast components, we've got all sorts of different sort of variations of what we call a probiotic, and each is very different in how we use it and what we use it for. They all have their place. It's just working out purpose for the probiotic itself. The live yeast that we work with active dry yeast, so they're sort of in a dormant phase. When they're fed to the animal and they go through the ration, they're still dormant until the animal consumes it and that probiotic reaches the site of sort of action. So in this situation we use one that's specific to the rumen. So within that rumen, once it gets in there, it becomes alive, it utilises oxygen for its own survival. By doing that, it helps to maintain rumen pH and increase rumen pH a little bit. So if we've got sort of more acidotic type rations, we can help to sort of buffer that rumen pH inconsistencies and maintaining it to be a lot more consistent, and which comes back to animal health and rumen performance.
The better facility that we like in the silage is a grain sorghum chopped completely with a chopper and ground, and that seems to be our best feed. And then you've got your corn and your barley and everything, but it's better if it's chopped with a chopper straight away, and we've done white grains and red grains and everything, yeah. For the last 3 years we've been using bags, and we've just gone back to the pit in the aspect that the bags were simply, they were busting. So without the inoculant, you'd be looking at 48 hours you had to get into it after it had already cured and everything in the bag. With the inoculant, we were getting between 2 and 3 weeks before it would go hot or even go off. So that was the difference of the inoculant to no inoculant. Probably our biggest advantage with it is in the bunks, but the biggest advantage is no sickness. The better the silage, because we can't use any antibiotics and no drugs at all, so we can't have any sick cattle, and the silage that's treated properly and put down properly, yeah, they just come off the grass and hit running. Once we have a sick pen, we lose money. Yeah, so we can't have it. So that's why we use a very high grass and silage ration, yeah. And it seems to work for us.
Young cattle start their life drinking milk, and then they gradually start to eat grass as well. And that transition is important. The next transition is equally important, because animals that eat grass and then moving on to a ration containing grain, that takes some time. So it's very important that the rumen is developed and that the rumen is ready to be able to manage the environment in which they're going to eat a lot of grain. And that process is a slow process. Most feedlots do it over several days with a series of rations that gradually develop a higher proportion of grain. So the transition that an animal takes from a grass environment to a feedlot and grain environment is very critical to maintaining the health of that animal and the health of their rumen during the feedlot process.